up, beautiful people? This is your girl Ingrid, and you are back for another episode of Curve the Runway. And today's guest is none other than Pep Holman. She owns and operates the Bridal Citizen, a bridal consulting firm that encourages and inspires brides to be bold and confident while shaping the world around them. She believes that they ought to be engaged in their community, and that is what all pun intended. A wedding is for a day, but a citizen is for a lifetime. Thank you so much for joining us, Pep. We are so honored to have you today. You are the bomb. You did your thing for Curve the Runway. How are you feeling?
Well, first off, thank you all for having me. I'm feeling excellent. It's always good to sit down and chat with you. I'm just excited to be here.
When we think of Curve the Runway, we automatically think of the finale of the show and the class act performance that you put on with those models and the entire show. How did you even come to be a part of Curve the Runway? I know that you were close with Peaches, even though you were not a part of the first show. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can, and it's hard to talk without getting emotional. Peaches was a good friend of mine. Um, when my dad passed away in 2016, Peaches and some of my other friends, they created this text message group, and they would text me and encourage me just about every day, just to check on me. And I believe that when people lift you up in extremely dark moments, those are the people you should be loyal to, or those are the people who, you want to keep in your life. And so, of course, we all know Peaches had several different companies, and she would, every now and again, she would contact me and ask me to work the door, at some of her events. And she would always say, Pep, I don't trust everybody on my door, but you, I trust you on my door. And I know that means something, because you got people coming in, or in some cases there will be celebrities, a lot of money at the door, all kinds of things. So it meant the world to me that she trusted me in that way. And so when she got ready to do Curve the Runway, she contacted me, and at that time my toe was broken, and I felt so bad because I wanted to be a part of it. I have a few of my mentors who always say these are people I just don't say no to, and Peaches was one of the people on that list. Like, I have those people where it's like, if they need something, I'm gonna make it happen, right? And so I felt so bad because I had never broken anything in my body before. And
Wow.
this is the one time where my friend needs me and my toe is broken. And I was like, you know what? If they have one next year, I'm there. I'm all in. And unfortunately, um, she passed away about a month later, but we had talked in between then, and I was just so extremely proud to see what she was able to accomplish with the Curve the Runway team. And so when I got the phone call from Lee to be a part of it, she said, hey, she spoke highly of you, and she said, we do a bridal segment, gotta give Pep. And that's all I needed to hear. I said, look, whatever y'all need, I'm in. Just count me, count me in.
And that means so much. Like, see, have not knowing that, just watching the show, it just adds so much meaning to why you went so hard. I think about the scenes of the footage of the dancing and just walking the runway. And it just means so much knowing that you guys were friends. So it was like this was something that you were doing for her. So it just adds so much more meaning to the moment.
Well, when we're dealing with bridal, anything bridal is always a certain size, right? A certain look. I started off as a bridal model. I'm a published bridal model. But even with my short hair, and that's still not the traditional um, bridal image that we see. So what I did was I just said, hey, if we're going way out, let's take this and go way out of the box, because we have brides who have tattoos. We have white, we have black, we have Egyptian, we have all all sorts of women who are represented here, beautiful women, in all sizes. So let's celebrate that. And I feel like I had a wonderful palette to work with. And I knew I just wanted to do leather, lace, and tambourines. And so you saw the leather with the leather motorcycle jacket, which isn't something that's traditional that you would see a bride wear, but it's certainly a trend. And then the lace came in with the gowns that we decided to pull in for the collection, and the tambourines, of course, for the encore. That's a New Orleans thing. You know, when we have our second line, we get together. You will see a tambourine here or there. So I figured, with us being from New Orleans, why not honor that? So leather, lace, and tambourines. That was just my initial thought.
And it makes perfect sense because as I think back, you actually broke the internet with your own bridal photo shoots because you didn't go traditional at all for your own.
No, I did not. So, my husband's family is from Guyana and Ghana, and so wanted to just do a culture clash, right? Just like merge the cultures together. And so it was just a huge play on New Orleans culture mixed with that West African culture. And I think the guests liked it. I think people enjoyed it. I really do. Our designer, Tabitha Bethune, she did an incredible job of really honoring that, like honoring both all of the cultures, just everything down to the second line rags or the exact print from my gown. And so
Wow.
and then the magnolia flowers, we went through La Lou Bakery. So the magnolia flowers on the wedding cake were the exact same African wax print. So the petals on the magnolia flowers were the wax print from my gown. So I made sure that every single detail, if you were paying attention, tied into it. Even the cake
Yeah.
pulls from Ugly Betty Boy Crush, one of my good friends, Samantha Ford, we pulled her in to do the cake pulls, and I gave her a tiny piece of the fabric, and she pulled these incredible beads together that mocked the fabric from the dress. And so the women who were able to get a cake pull, they got a keepsake that kind of mocked the African print. So we just thought of
Wow.
we tried to think of every detail.
So let me ask you, with you doing that for your own wedding, did art imitate life or did life imitate art? Was that something that you were already doing or was your art then inspired by your own wedding?
That's a great question. Before my wedding, I was a bridal model. So I knew I wanted to have a moment, right? Um, but I didn't know it was going to be the type of moment it was until after. And then that's what kind of got the wheels turning of, this could be a thing where we do this for other people. So I was already in the wedding industry, but not in the way that I'm in it now, if that makes sense.
Who brings biker jackets and leather to a wedding? So and now people are looking for it. I mean, I'm thinking about the hat with the dress and just every little detail. It all just stands out. And so I can see why that would be something that would be in high demand. I don't want to be the typical bride. I've seen people with pink dresses, black dresses, but you just bring so much style and pizzazz to everything. I mean, girl, you're the bomb. You're the bomb.com. That's you. That's all you. So after that pop-up wedding, which we're going to get into during another segment, you begin to do other events. So you did a pop-up ball and you did a few other events. Can you share with us about those?
Yes. So January of this year, I did a bridal mixer. And at this bridal mixer, there were about 20 plus vendors represented. We had a bridal panel, and you were our incredible host, which I'm going to be honest with you. I think that the bridal panel was probably my favorite part of the night because if you've ever, as a former um, bride, like planning a wedding, you want to get as much advice from other brides as possible. And so I was just like, if I could get all of these women who follow my page, right, who are engaged in my page in some way or another, who are
I,
engaged in my page in some way
all pun
or
intended.
another, all pun intended, to get on a panel and just like pour out any type of advice to the women in the room who are planning a wedding, that would be epic. And so I just started reaching out, and one by one, it was like, sure, wait, what? Of course. And I didn't want to be biased. So I only had one of my brides on the panel. I didn't want it to seem like it was the pep show, right? So some of those brides who were on the panel, they had other planners. They didn't use me as a vendor, but these are still women who follow the bridal citizen. I'm still, I love the fact that they're engaged in my page. So to have them on the panel and give expert advice, because at this point, these are the subject matter experts. They just got married. You should want to listen to them because they're going to tell you, hey, don't do this, do that. And I think the one person who I got the most feedback from, really all the brides got good feedback because I sent out a survey. Dr. J, the hearing doc, she was also featured in Forbes magazine. So, and she
Yeah.
owns several hearing clinics throughout New Orleans. She is in incredible woman. Like she is just amazing. So the fact that she was able to clear her schedule, because I know she's really busy, the fact that she was able to clear her schedule and make time for the event and pour into women and tell them like how to save money, how to pay for the wedding, that was just invaluable. So I enjoyed that was my favorite part of that event. And then we did the pop-up ball, which was just kind of a test run just to see how can we have a Mardi Gras ball where people can wear anything like their old Mardi Gras gowns. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars. You can come out, eat, enjoy, dance. And so we had it at Treme Market Branch, loved them. And we also had Real Clever Cuisine. They did the catering. Shout out to Theodric. He's
It
incredible.
was great
So
too. It
it
was
was
really good.
thank you. Yes, yes. So that was just something that we thought of, and it's like, how can we think outside of the box when it comes to a Mardi Gras ball? Like, wouldn't that be cool just to have a pop-up ball and you just show up in a gown and we just hear like, hey, it's a ball. So, know, not sure if we'll do it next year, but we had a great time this year. I will say that.
Yes, and I will say that I was asked a lot of questions after the fact, you know, because I did promote that we were going to be there, but after the fact, it was like, you went to a pop-up ball? I didn't know anything about pop-up ball. So it's like once word begins to spread, people are like, oh, really, really? So, yeah. So what is in store for you? Currently, I know you have a Microsoft deal on the table. What's going on with that major accomplishment?
Thank you. So I partnered with Microsoft to create these really cool wedding vision board workshops. And this is where brides can come into the Microsoft store and actually have a session with me and the Microsoft team. And we show them how to use the Microsoft Touch Surface, the Surface Pro, and show them how they can use this technology to literally plan their wedding and make it just incredibly easy. So I was so happy just to have that partnership, because I truly believe that if you're a business owner, you need to be integrating technology into all aspects of your business. Like technology is what's going to move us forward. So we have to stay innovative. So I think that vision boards are great, right? I love vision boards. I have a vision board, but I know that everything is digital. And maybe we were ahead of our time because like right after we did the first wedding vision board party, then COVID happens, everything gets shut down, and now everything is digital. So um I'm just excited about that. And we're going to continue to develop that relationship so that we can have the best outcome for our business and our future bride.
Well, the Curve the Runway team, we are huge fans of yours, and we know you have a standard of being incredibly innovative in everything that you do, especially with what you just said when it comes to the modeling, when it comes to the coaching, when it comes to your branding about the citizen. You're a photographer as well. Can you please share with us this citizen thing based on your military service?
Absolutely. So, when I was in the military, I served 14 years in the Army, right? Army National Guard. And so, one of my soldiers actually gave me the moniker, the model citizen. Um, we would have food left over, and I would literally take the food and bring it under the bridge and feed the homeless. And he says, "You know what, Sergeant Perlman? You are a model," because at that time I would do bridal modeling, and he's like, "And you do good, like you're a do-gooder, so you're the model citizen." And I was like, "Oh, that's so dope." And so the name stuck. It's not necessarily about more of like, oh, being a model, but it's like, no, what is a model citizen? What does a model citizen look like? And so in 2019, I was I was honored by the Girl Scouts of Louisiana as a 2019 Woman of Distinction because of my community service and um, and just giving back. I sit on the board of directors for Playbill NOLA, which that's something I'm really proud of, and I work with other organizations. Thank you. I work with small organizations throughout the city. Just to give back, just to be engaged and be involved. And I want to just pause right there and just anyone who is listening to this, um, now is the time to be more engaged, right? There are community meetings that you can attend that are free. You don't you can go online and look up community meetings now more than ever. If you are a citizen, you need to be engaged and you need to know what is going on and you need to truly take part in what is happening in the world around you. Like we can't just continue to sit back and we want this person to advocate. We want that person to advocate. Oh, now is the time for all of us to put our citizenship to use and show up and show up and use your voice and use your resources and use your time. And so that's what citizenship is about to me. So a lot of the brides, a lot of the women um, who have been bridal citizens, these women, they sit on boards, they do community service, they're heavily engaged in nonprofits. So really what I want to do moving forward is show that side of the bridal citizen. I had some stuff planned for this year and a lot of plans got derailed, but it's okay because it gives us the opportunity to go back to the drawing board and say, well, how can we make it better?
Yes, yes. That is so real, especially with what's going on right now with COVID. So everything has gone digital. How else has COVID adjusted the way that you go about the model of bridal citizen?
Well, a lot of my weddings got pushed to next year, which I'm okay with that because safety is always the top priority for my team and for my brides and their families. But the one thing that we're doing to stay innovative, we just dropped a photo shoot on Juneteenth, and that's the direction that the company is going in, where we will be providing these visual experiences that are weddings. These are really small, tiny, intimate, pop-up weddings where we'll be at various locations, right? And then it'll be documented in a manner that when people see the images, they'll feel like I was there, right? So with the last wedding we posted, it was literally in the middle of a sugarcane field, and these were old plantation, old slave cabins, and the bride Amaris and her husband Justin, they were celebrating 10 years, and we have that was our pastor for the pop-up wedding. So they are pastors, and so we have a long history with them as well. But that land that we were on, her family actually worked that land. And so it meant
Wow.
so much. So that's why we titled
Oh my
that
God.
particular shoot Solid Ground. Like this, we are on solid ground. And it felt so good to be there. But the feedback has been great because people are like, I'm looking at these images and it feels like I'm there. And so that's what we want
Mhm.
to create for other brides. Like you don't have to spend $60,000 on a wedding right now because it won't be able to invite everyone, right? So let's go in another direction and let's create an incredible experience.
So, Pep, a lot of these models were just starting out when they did Curve the Runway with you. And since then, many of them have gone on to do major things. Can you share with us how you have been supportive and assisting them in furthering their careers?
Absolutely. So, um, I'm a firm believer in helping other people, especially if there's a way for me to help you, I will. Like that's just who I am. So all my models had my number, right? They all had my phone number. Um, I we didn't really have that many interactions like leading up to the show because I was too busy behind the scenes like trying to plan everything, get everything just right. But on the day of the show, I was able to spend a lot of time with them and I let them know, stay close, stay close to me. That way, if there's something that comes up, I can reach out to you. And so there were most of the models keep in touch with me. I've worked with Ashley, I've worked with India, I've worked with Sue. And so I hope my models are listening because I want to work with all of y'all again. So India, as far as India, she was able to get reposted on the David's Bridal page, which was huge. Um, we had done a shoot with a David's bridal gown at the Commandment, which was a local boutique, and they loved the images. And so from there, they reposted, and we were so grateful. But I think it was incredible because she's someone who just starting out. She has had a long journey with weight loss and self love and self esteem. And so she's just like, to go from no, 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 no. And she's like, she always tells us, she says, then I meet the bridal citizen, and it's like, boom. And so for me, I don't look at it like that. I just look at it as, this is what God wants us to do. He wants us to help other people, he wants us to open doors for other people, especially when and if we can, right? And so I did that shoot with her. She was on the news. I brought her on my news segment, and I dressed her on TV. And that was again, we had some accessories from David's Bridal and Juicy 38. They lent us the really cool hat. So on this one, she had a purple fedora. And then I also worked with Ashley. We did a shoot as well. Ashley's awesome. She always has like so many different things going on. I know she had something going with Ashley Stewart. I'm just waiting on like the phone call or the text message to hear like, she's made it big time because she's definitely well on her way. And then I've also worked with Sue. Sue is a pharmacist. A lot of people don't know that about her, right? So she's like brains and beauty. And this woman is so compassionate. And I think just if I park right there, like the women um I met from Curve the Runway were just the most sweet, I mean, just compassionate, loving women. Timmy, she was my finale model. Tabitha Cashmere, shout out to Tabitha, she's incredible. She created the finale dress, and so I talk to them like once a week. I'm in a little text message with them once a week. So I try to keep in touch with all of the bridal citizen models, but I also keep in touch with some of the models from the other segments.
Yeah.
I like to, keep like Bambi. I keep in touch with her on Facebook. So it's quite a few of the models who I keep in touch with. But all in all, just meeting them, these are not the typical, arrogant, not, just standoffish women. These women are kind, compassionate. And I think that's what makes Curve the Runway so different from any other modeling experience. And it may actually spoil the models because when they go off into other environments, they're going to be like, wait, why isn't everybody as nice? Or why isn't, but Curve the Runway is a family atmosphere, right? Because I've walked in fashion shows where you'll be backstage for 5 hours, people won't say anything to you, like nothing.
Mm,
Like you're just a number. But with Curve the Runway, it's literally a family down to the
yeah.
makeup artist. Everybody is just, it's just one big happy family. And so for me, it was just natural that I kept in touch with my models. And I'm grateful that I have the models that I have. Now I will say this, bridal citizens, y'all have a few other models that's coming for y'all spots because they've already inboxed me. Pep, I would love to be a part of your segment next year. And I'm like this, okay, I don't know what to say. So there were a few models who's like, I would like to walk for you next year, which I don't have a problem with. Just make it bigger, no problem.
Speaking of Lee, I'm so excited to welcome her to this side of the camera. She is the co-founder, producer, and creative director of Curve the Runway. Welcome, 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 love. How are you?
Hello, Ingrid. Hello, Pep. How you ladies
Hi,
doing?
But
I
great.
know
don't
I'm
see how she came on here with that seductive hello.
I'm usually on the other side. No one sees me, and but Ingrid can hear me, and I'm really excited. I'm so happy that Pep's on, and I enjoyed her segment and everything she had to say. You know,
Thank you.
So I want to ask you because a lot of people are just requesting they want to walk for this person, they want to walk for that person. How did you select the models from the audition process to who and what designer they were going to walk for?
well, one of the things about Curve the Runway is I wanted to make sure that one, everyone that auditioned and that we picked had an opportunity to walk for a designer and for a segment. And I didn't want to, so I really took out the hands of the designers and the clothing boutiques who they would pick. Selected all the models and gave them their models. There's not going to be a show where no one gets picked, and I think that's unfair. So our show is completely different, and I know that that's not the norm in this business. When it came time for the bridal segment, one of the things that I definitely wanted to make sure was seen that every woman was well represented in that segment, as far as all the way up to the age range. You know, I use the word traditional, but that word traditional is embedded. The typical bridal model is usually, tall, slender, blonde. And although that woman is getting married, she's not the only woman getting married, or she's not the only person getting married. And so wanted to make sure that every woman was well represented and they too can be a bride. Also knew that Pep would be able to convey that, the way she styled the girls. So that was really important. And I explained that to the models, like why you all were picked, because you all represent somebody just like you. And that word tradition, we're going to throw that out. They're going to see you, styled as a bride, and know that a bride can be anyone, doesn't necessarily have to look a certain way.
We're seeing that trend going on. I think about Fendi, Rihanna's line, and how she just did this all inclusive modeling. Do you see that this trend will continue on with inclusive modeling?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just the moment that we're in now, people want to see themselves in every aspect of society, whether it's fashion or music, or whether it's having a certain career. They want to see themselves represented. And so they're going through the channels in order to make that happen. So the same thing with Curve the Runway and us choosing the girls. All women need to be included when it's time to have those visual representations of fashion. I mean, they're the consumers, and they're a large base of consumers. So if I'm the customer, I want to see myself.
Was it a challenge or was it exciting looking at some of these characteristics from tattoos to stretched earlobes? What was the thought process when it came to the actual styling aspect of that, Pep?
Well, for me, I was excited because I got a chance to work with real women. And so I thought that was really exciting. And just being able to put, women who may not have the traditional look and beautiful gowns, that's just fun. It's just something fun and unique about that. And then also these are women who, like Lee said, they represent what most of society looks like. The average woman is like a size 12, 14. And so for women in the audience to be able to see other women in beautiful gowns, um, that was just, I think that was the most important part, is just for other women to see themselves. So it doesn't matter if you have a sleeve, or it doesn't matter if you have short hair or long hair or braids, like every person was represented.
And when it comes to seeing everyone represented, can you go a little bit in detail about the thought process of why you chose to select the models for the lines,
Yes.
Lee?
So yes. So like, give example. We have Ashlyn. She opened up the show. I remember when she opened up the bridal segment. I remember doing her audition. She was so shy, and it was amazing that she didn't see how beautiful she was. She really, it was her first time ever taking a complete leap of faith. A friend of hers was actually a part of the show already, and she convinced her to audition, and actually gave her shoes to audition. She was so shy. She was afraid to walk, and you know, she just didn't see herself. I found it to be amazing. But she's a beautiful woman. And so I remember when I was actually looking at all the models, I remember printing out everyone's photo. I made sure that everyone's photo, and I'm at the table. And she jumped out at me because I said, you know what? She doesn't see how beautiful she is. And so I added her as one of the models. And so one of the things is add her to the list. I give all the models, and I remember sending all the photos to Pep. I didn't actually tell Pep where she's putting people, how they're gonna, that wasn't about the process. It was just, these are the girls you have. And then I later learned that she was gonna be the opening bride, and it was perfect. It was, and I'm glad that happened, because not only did we all see it, but believe it or not, through the process, she saw for herself, you know, what she had, which was already something deep inside of her. It was already there.
Speaking to the importance of imagery and being able to see yourself, and it wasn't just transformative for the models who were in the show, but for people who were watching. So can you talk a little bit about the importance of imagery and why it was important to have these women represented?
Yes, Ingrid. So I'll give you some examples. Like I just spoke about Ashlyn. Like I said, very shy. I added her to the list, and Pep did a great job. Pep explained exactly, once I gave you the photo, what all did you do for styling her?
Okay. So with Ashlyn, I thought that she would be able to pull off the cage, which is this really cute short netting going across her face. I thought that would be just fun and exciting, and it was. I think it was impactful. And then I also wanted to give her a dress with pockets. I love pockets. My wedding dress had pockets. I'm a pockets girl. So for me, at least one of the dresses in the show had to have pockets, and she pulled it off great. The dress doesn't really have a long train, and I didn't want something with a super long train because she has pockets and she has a cage, so it would have been too much going on. But she pulled it off perfect. And this dress is from David's Bridal.
Okay. And that's now that right there, it's Brittany Bright. She was a first time model as well for Curve the Runway, and I thought she was same thing. The cutest thing, she was actually inspired to audition for our show because we have a good friend of hers, Kendall Weed, was a part of the show, and she was inspired by Kendall, who was one of our very first models. And I thought that she's so adorable. I just love her look. You can tell us about that.
So with Brittany, I wanted to keep it traditional. I didn't use veils on all of my models because again, we were just showing women that you can get married without wearing a veil, right? There are other alternatives to headpieces, but for Brittany, I wanted to keep it very traditional. We did a high neckline, a very flowy gown, absolutely beautiful. Again, this is from the Davis Bridal collection, and she's one of the models who we did use a veil on. And like I said, this gives the women in the audience an idea of something that is just absolutely gorgeous, but it's not too much. It's just the right amount of sparkle, just the right amount of glam. And she pulled it off.
Yes. And that is Sue. You spoke about Sue earlier. She is a pharmacist. She actually graduated from Xavier University. And she actually
And
hails from her
Egypt
original.
too, correct?
Excuse me?
She's from Egypt too, correct?
Yes, that's what I'm about to say. She
Yes.
actually, her original hometown, she's from Egypt and she came here and attended school and she graduated from Xavier. And she came and auditioned for the show again, first time model. And she was inspired for everything that she saw. And I think she did a great job. You can talk about how you styled her.
Okay, so with Sue, I wanted to keep it super, super simple, but still glamorous. So a lot of her glam is basically her headpiece and her earrings. We went in with the accessories for her glam. This dress, of course, is from the David's Bridal collection. And again, thank you so much to David's Bridal and Slidell. They partnered with us for the Curve the Runway show, and we're so grateful just to have that relationship. So with this gown, I mean, the movement in this gown is just absolutely gorgeous. This is something that a bride could wear in any setting. So this could be a large wedding or at a very small wedding, even a beach wedding. If it was, towards the end of the year, maybe November, where it was a nice cool breeze, because her dress does have the sleeves, which that was one of the things I absolutely loved about her dress. Those sleeves, oh, I just love it. She pulled it off.
Yeah, yeah. And that is Lucy. Now, one of the things I love about Lucy, again, this is her first time modeling with us, but she auditioned. I want to say the previous year. I don't know. I actually can't remember what happened, but She modeled with us, and I love you utilize her natural hair and you accessorize that, that was beautiful.
Yes, it
Right.
was.
So Lucy is wearing, of course, a David's bridal gown, and the dress is so much fun, right? So it's a strapless gown with these really cool layers on the bottom, very cute, very fun. But I wanted to really highlight her natural hair. And so we had the hairstylist go in, and I had these really cute little bling accessories, and they just dropped them all over her hair. And I think that was like one of my favorite hairstyles of the night because she really pulled it off. And again, it gives women in the audience who may be skeptical about wearing their natural hair, if they have a natural fro, they may be skeptical about wearing it, or how do I style it for the day of my wedding. But after seeing this, it's like, whoa, wait, I can actually put little bling barrettes all over it and make it a thing. And again, every bride doesn't necessarily need a veil, right? So you saw Sue didn't have one, and so on and so forth. So sometimes it's about accessorizing, but not necessarily needing a veil to accessorize your hair. And it's just a standout moment for the bride.
Yeah. And here we have India. Let me tell you, I immediately grabbed, she was probably one of the first pictures that I grabbed and say, I'm definitely putting her in the bridal segment, because I know, unfortunately, this industry would run. She has, stretched earlobes, she has tattoos, and all I could see was how magnificent. I didn't know how you were going to dress her, but I knew, I was like, she's going to be perfect for the bridal segment. So tell us about what all you did with her, because this was awesome.
Thank you. So here's the thing. We had multiple fittings at David's Bridal, and I knew two of my models, you all didn't have to go to David's Bridal because you had custom gowns. But with the rest of the models, I had them just go into David's Bridal and try on as many gowns as possible. One was to get a feel for the wedding dresses, right? A wedding gown is different from a party dress or a club dress. There are layers underneath, there's a skirt underneath. It's just different. It's a totally different thing, right? And so I kind of combed over the pictures because we had multiple models who tried on the same gown. And so it was like, how do I choose who gets to wear what? So I had several models that submitted their images to me in that particular gown. And I knew I wanted to do a really cool fedora with that gown. And so I said, well, who better to pull it off than India, because she has this short hair, and that's it. That would be her veil, if you will. And I just absolutely love the way it turned out. And again, that's a dress that wear for a beach wedding, a spring wedding. You could even be daring and wear for a winter wedding if you put a really cool cape over it. So it's so much you can do with that dress, but it's certainly a dress that can go from a ceremony to a reception without the bride actually having to switch up.
Wow. That's the truth. She did an awesome job. She pulled it off, the fedora. And there we have Joy. She's been with us. This is her second
Yes.
year. She actually just graduated. Congratulations to her class of 2020.
Yay,
She graduated from two.
Joy!
She graduated from Tulane University.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Go
But
Joy.
Joy is such a sweetheart, and so she's young. So that was another thing I wanted to make sure I had every age range, and then so you have with Joy would be representing more of a younger model, but Joy is just bold. So this was effortless for her. But tell us about this, because you did a beautiful thing with this as well.
So with Joy, I wanted to keep her bold, I wanted to keep her fun, and I wanted to show that personality, right? So um, all we did was go in with really big, bold earrings just to accessorize the fact that she has short hair. We didn't need to do much there. And then she has this beautiful ball gown with sparkles, and it's strapless. but we took it all the way left and added a really cool moto jacket and on top of it, just to keep it fun, just to keep it edgy. And I do believe people they liked it, they enjoyed it. So this is something that brides could wear to certainly an outdoor wedding. Brides could wear something like this to their bridal shoot. I mean, it's a number of ways you can do this particular look, but I loved it on her. She pulled it off great.
Yes, she did. And I know, like you said, and you mentioned there were two models who we had custom gowns. I actually ended up being one of those models. There was a dress you received all the way from a New York designer. Let's talk about this
Yes,
dress.
so
This was a beautiful dress. To be honest with you, I enjoyed it, and I would proudly say represent that more mature woman who may be getting married, because yes, we still get married after 40. Just want to put that out there.
absolutely. So this was uh, from the designer D. Silly. I went all the way to New York to meet with her and to get this gown. She so graciously allowed us to showcase her beautiful gown in the show. And what I love about it is that all the drama is on one side, right? So all
Yes.
the drama is on one side of the dress, and then the rest is just like really sexy, really subtle, but still giving life, still absolutely serving. So this, I would do a dress like this for a small, like a really intimate wedding or even a reception gown, right? Or if a bride, you could certainly have this for your ceremony and for your reception if you just want to stay in it the entire time. But this is definitely an intimate wedding or reception gown, and certainly for mature women, for the women who don't necessarily want a huge ball gown, but they still want to make
Exactly.
a statement. This is the dress because it definitely makes a statement. And
Yes,
you
it
pulled it
does.
off great. You pulled it off.
Well, Pep, look, I still, and so this is Tamika. She was our closing, and this is also designed, a local designer. Tell us about that.
Yes. So with Tamika, I went through my models and I decided on my lineup, and I wanted her to close because when I met her, she's really tall, really striking, really bold, strong, beautiful woman. And I called and I told her, like, hey, I would like for you to close. And she was like, oh my God, this is great. And it didn't dawn on me how this show would affect the women who were a part of it. But I think, for her, it was just like, this is my first time really venturing out and doing something like this. So to have to like carry the show or like to be the final model is just
Yeah.
crazy, to be the finale model. And so I worked with Tabitha Cashmere for, I would say, a few weeks, and we pulled really cool fabric that I knew, like, once the light would hit it, it would sparkle in certain
Yes.
ways, but it wouldn't be too much bling. And so this is like our take on a New Orleans ball gown, but still a wedding. So it has just enough train, just enough split to give you like that va va boom, but it's
Yeah.
not too much. And then it's adorned with a belt with tons of bling. So it was perfect. And what we did with her hair, we just added bling going across just to, top it off. But she pulled it off absolutely great. She pulled it off. So shout out to Tabitha Cashmere for putting everything together. And when Timmy got to the end of the runway, she was like doing her thing, and I
Yes.
was just
She
standing back
did.
there thinking like, okay, So yeah, I think everyone, all of the models definitely um, they played a huge part in making the show a success. So I can't
Mhm.
sit here and say, oh, well, I did this or I did that. it was certainly a team effort. And I'm so grateful to every single Curve the Runway model. Can't wait to do it again. It was a pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure working with all of the Curve the Runway, the Bridal Citizen models, should I say.
Yes. And here we have the fellas, because we did have two fellas, and we appreciate the tuxedo. There was a tuxedo company, Duran's Tuxedo, assisted us with these. And here we have this young man right here. How did you style
Right.
him?
And so, well, with LT, I went on ahead and just gave him something fun and cool because I know, like with weddings, grooms oftentimes they like to pull the wedding colors. So we just thought, well, maybe let's pretend like this is a black and red wedding. So we went with a really cool tuxedo jacket and just paired it with a red bow tie and pocket square. And again, we want to say thank you to our friends over at Duran's Tuxedos, located on Broad. They've been a part of the community for years and years, and they just stepped up to the plate with no problem. So thank you so much to Duran.
And that's Mr. Derek Deal. That's actually our makeup artist directory. That's her husband. This is actually his second year in our show. He was one of our male models for the first show. So we constantly put him to work. We appreciate him. Dana does a great job. We're basically giving him the time, the date, and he shows up and he does a great job. How did you style him?
So we knew the other tuxedo was like fun and playful. So we know that every groom doesn't necessarily want a red pocket square or a red bow tie. So with his look, we went very classic, very traditional, very clean. And this is just your basic tuxedo, but it doesn't look basic on him. He pulls it off absolutely well. And again, we thank our friends over at Duran's Tuxedos for providing this incredible tux.
You did a great job, Pep. We really appreciate you. I could only continue to hope and wish the best for you because I know you're doing great things with the Bridal Citizen. You know, I follow you as well. I'm not a bride yet, but I follow you. And even recently with the you helped a couple, actually Ambrose, who will be on later on with us from Davis Bridal and Slidell. Her and her husband celebrated their 10th year anniversary. It happened to be on Juneteenth, and you did such a memorable thing with them by pulling out their own personal family experience. I want you to talk about that because that was, I think, the key thing about what you did with them was it was definitely customized for a life history and memory that not only made just a 10-year anniversary, but it was almost like a reminder of exactly how far they've come together.
Right. So we had thrown around the idea of us doing an anniversary or a vow renewal or some type of celebration just to commemorate their 10th year anniversary. But with COVID and everything else happening, we weren't able to do that. And so we just decided to do a photo shoot. And so it just so happens that their wedding anniversary is on Juneteenth. And so this year, the energy was just different. And
Yeah.
they picked the location. And when we got out to the location, the story behind this location is that her family actually worked this land, right? So her great great grandmother, they were sharecroppers, and they wanted to move to New Orleans to get an education when they were teenagers. And her mom told her the only way you're going to move to New Orleans is if harvest so many pounds of sugar cane. And
Wow.
once you do that, I'll send you to your family in New Orleans. So I guess it was, if you harvest this much, I know I'll be able to make this much money, and then you'll be able to go. And so
Wow.
uh, she and her sister pretty much worked around the clock in the field around the clock, and they made it happen. And
Wow.
she got to come to New Orleans go to school in New Orleans, and the rest is history. And so
Wow.
these are the stories that make us. And so to come back to that same land, that's why I titled the experience On Solid Ground, because to come back to that same land as a free woman with her children and her
My
husband,
husband.
and having the past behind her, but so much of the future in front of her, but standing in the present, like grateful, just ever so grateful for what God has done, like for all the promises that God has kept. And so for me, I was just honored to, because I mean, as a photographer, so as an owner of the Bridal Citizen, I do consulting, I do bridal consulting, bridal styling, wedding planning. But then over at the Photo Citizen, my photo project, I shoot images of people. And I don't do it that often. So that's not something I push all the time because it has to be right. And the chemistry has to be there. Because like
Mhm.
when you are creating something, especially something like that, and this is a person's memories. This wasn't a shoot where it was, I'm dressing her up as a bride. This was
Yes.
really, okay, I'm capturing, this is a memory, and this is on solid ground, and this is something that her children's children remember.
Yeah.
And so
Remember.
there needs to be, the energy has to be right. The everything has to be right. And so it was. And so that's the direction that I want to go in. Especially with COVID, I want to create really incredible wedding experiences that are visual. So visual wedding
Yeah.
experiences for brides and grooms, because we know we still want to celebrate love. Love is not
Yes.
canceled.
So,
Right? Love is not canceled, and neither are weddings, neither is marriage. None of those things are canceled. It's just to rethink what weddings are
yeah.
and rethink all of these things, and to be more intentional. To be more intentional with those things. So for me, it was just having that moment in the middle of the sugarcane field and this incredible couple, and just it was like, how do you not get emotional? How do you not look at it
Yeah.
and see how far we've come? Because I told them, I said, you know what's so funny? We're standing here right now, and my great grandmother and your great grandmother made it through the Spanish flu. They made it through Red Summer. They made it through the civil rights movement. They made it through redlining. They made it through all of these things, Jim Crow, all of these
The
things.
war on
Yes.
And
drugs.
yeah, the war. Well, mine died right before the war on drugs,
Right.
but
Yeah.
all of those things, right? And so think to yourself, whenever you think to yourself, will I make it? Will we make
Yes.
it? And the answer is yes, because we
Yes.
are the receipts. We are the proof that they made it. And the same blood
That's
runs
right.
through our veins, so we have to make. We don't
Yeah.
have a choice to make it. We have an obligation to make it. And so I like what you said, that Khalif said. He said, success is protesting.
And it's
Success
that
is
reveal.
protest and
Hmm.
revenge. How
It
does the
is.
how does the phrase go?
So that's what Khalif, we talked about that on the Father's Day segment. He said he teaches his kids, but overall, success, succeeding, moving forward, that's the revenge.
Yeah, I
The
like that.
decision made, the decision that her great great grandmother made to put in that work for that last harvest, you know, that's why Amber's here. That's why their family's here. She made a
Correct.
decision, and she was carrying an entire generation, whether she knew it at the time, but because of the decision that she made, uh, that we are, as they say, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams, we are the receipts. And
We are the
so
yes.
I agree with, what they said on our Father's Day segment. A form of protest is us to continue to do what we're doing in our own individual lives and working um, towards, like you said, our ancestors, they've been through plenty. So take a page out of the book that they've already written Life is a simple formula when you run across those issues and you're like, how do I get through this? Well, somebody already has. Let's turn to the chapter and page so and so, read up on it, tear it out, and keep it moving. But definitely want to tell you thank you very much, Pep, for taking my phone call. That's number one. And like I said, Peaches, everything she said about you was beyond the truth, and we appreciate you. The women that you encountered during our show, they appreciated you, and you furthered that experience of allowing people to come here to Curve Runway and be their best selves, uninterrupted, no judgment. It's a safe zone, and yes, Ingrid, we're probably spoiling people. The fashion industry doesn't
Definitely,
have
definitely.
doesn't doesn't have the complete bedside manner that we have over here at Curve the Runway, but we hopefully give people that opportunity to see themselves in that light. And I think the beautiful thing is once you recognize your own personal strength, not too many outside entities can tell you that you can't when you know you can because you just did it. I love the shining example that India, she doesn't realize what she's doing, but she's created her own lane. And so I don't know if she knows that she doesn't have to go back to the other standard that they set. Ma'am, you set your own standard. You are now becoming the standard. She's become a local, brand model. And like you say, with Rihanna, she's an all-inclusive show. And again, she's resetting the standard. Everybody keep talking about this standard. And if they don't let you in, that's okay. You do your own thing until you make so much noise. The people that were once the standard, what's going on over there? All the attention is being pulled away from the standard, and then you become the standard. So again, thank you, Pep. Thank you,
And
Ingrid.
while you're talking about the standard, when you're saying that we're being spoiled at Curve the Runway, I see Curve the Runway as something that we don't have to be spoiled with, that it can also begin to create other entities where we can continue to
Yes.
branch within Curve the Runway, so that if we were thinking about doing this after Curve the Runway, well, Curve the Runway has that too. Or, whether it's being in a magazine or whatever it may be. Curve the Runway can expand into those different entities and still provide those different avenues. So we
Yeah.
won't have to, worry about being spoiled and having different experiences. We can still excel and continue to go farther with Curve the Runway.
Well, hopefully the way everything is going, and even the things that Pep does with the Bridal Citizen and what we're doing, that it's got that feeling and the way business is done and the way people treat each other even within business, that the way the mood is right now, all of that's going to change. You have large corporations, finally they're backing their consumers. They're finally hearing their customers say, I want to be represented. I want to be included. Don't just advertise to me, take my dollars. I when I purchase your item past the stock market, I'm an investor as well. So I also have, a say so on how I believe, your product and your services should be represented back to me. And it also includes someone or people like me. And that's what this all about. Um, that's all to say. Ingrid, I want to tell you thank you. You've been doing a great job working with us. Pep, she's been doing a great job. She's an awesome host.
He has.
Thank you,
Yes.
guys. Thank you.
She's a,
Yes.
I'm
Incredible.
honored.
she's an
I
awesome
love it.
host.
This is Ingrid Laughlin, and you have just witnessed an amazing episode of Curve the Runway.